My question is for the Minister representing the Environment, Senator Birmingham. Last year, One Nation senators, including myself, travelled all 4 states right to the mouth in South Australia to see firsthand the workings of our Murray River and to investigate the Murray-Darling Plan. Last week, listened to riverina irrigators, the Blown Shire Council, the Mayor of Charleville and Queensland farmers. People tell us decisions on water plans are made without measurement of creek and river flows. Without knowing the quantities, water disappears into South Australia and into Lake Alexandrina, where it is wasted in evaporation and out the mouth. The government is blowing $13 billion of taxpayers' money on the Murray-Darling Basin Plan without science and data. Will the minister please explain when will the destitute people of Queensland, New South Wales and Victoria be treated with the respect of informed decisions based on science and measured data?
The Minister representing the Minister for the Environment and Energy and the Environment, Senator Birmingham. Order.
Thank you, Mr. President. I thank Senator Hanson for her question, which provides an opportunity to correct some of the misunderstandings that Senator Hanson clearly has, given the question that was asked. Senator Hanson makes the statement that water flowing out of the mouth of the river is wasted, whereas in fact all of the science would clearly indicate that water flowing out of the mouth of a river system is indeed important to the health of that river system, to the discharge of nutrients and the overall quality of water within that system, and of course in terms of then the native fish, wildlife, etc. throughout the river system. The Murray-Darling Basin Plan has been based on and informed by extensive scientific research and analysis, as well as extensive economic modelling and analysis to seek to reach a position that has allowed us to develop a plan that ought to be implemented in full, that ought not to be politicised in this place, but to develop a plan that allows us to have confidence that the entire Murray-Darling Basin will have as healthy a river system as possible for the long term. That whether it is through the Northern Basin, which is often disconnected to parts of the south in times of low inflows, or through the Southern Basin, we have confidence that we are extracting what is sustainable to then grow our food and fibre and produce, to sustain our farmers up and down the system, but to ensure that's sustainable year in, year out in terms of the allocation of water that's available to them, to make sure that by that we have healthy river communities. And sadly, the actions of the Senate last night put in some jeopardy that plan, and that jeopardises all of the river communities. It creates uncertainty for them up and down the length of the river system, and in creating that uncertainty, it of course will harm investment and jobs, and the best thing we can do is get the plan back on track.
Senator Hanson, a supplementary question.
Well, also, okay, then I want to know the impact of the Greens' disallowance motion, because I'm getting panicked calls from St George and Dirranbandi, who will share in the loss of another 70 gigalitres or 28,000 Olympic pools of water, swimming pools of water. Has a cost-benefit analysis been done, and what is the economic, employment and social impact in Queensland, New South Wales and Victoria from this team of environmental homewreckers? Yes, I'm talking about the Greens and the Labor and Bernardi.
Order, Senator Hanson.
Senator
Hanson, the time for asking the question has expired. Senator Hanson-Young, I asked earlier questions could be heard. Occasional interjection is one thing. A barrage of them during asking a question is entirely inappropriate and out of order. Senator Birmingham.
Thanks,
Senator Cameron.
Thanks, Mr. President. And look, I do concur, sadly, that a wrecking role was played by parties in the Senate last night around the Murray-Darling Basin Plan, and in particular the Northern Basin Review, which it is important for everybody to remember was agreed upon as an action way back in 2012 by then Water Minister, now Labor's Shadow Water Minister, Mr Tony Burke, because there was uncertainty about the credibility of some of the research underpinning the way in which Northern Basin entitlements had been calculated at the time. So a commitment was made there would be a fully informed scientific review, and a fully informed scientific review indeed was undertaken. And it went through all of the proper independent processes of the Murray-Darling Basin Authority, and of course was brought then to the Ministerial Council, where it received endorsement from all states and territories. And as I said before, it is of course unfortunate that the disallowance of that last night now creates great uncertainty for all of those river communities and puts jobs at risk.
Order, Senator Birmingham. Senator Hanson, do you have a final supplementary question?
Minister, barely any or none of the water stolen from northern New South Wales and Queensland will get to South Australia. That's a fact. So why is this parliament wanting to continue breaching Section 100 of the Australia's Constitution and continue selling water rights overseas while 87% of Queensland is drought-stricken?
Senator Birmingham.
Mr President, I don't agree with the term water stolen, but I did acknowledge in my first answer that indeed the Northern Basin is often disconnected from the Southern Basin in times of low inflows into that system. And of course it is correct that of the 70 gigalitre adjustment proposed to the Northern Basin, on average a very small proportion of that, only a few gigalitres, would in fact ever make it to the Southern Basin and potentially through to the lower lakes. So that is indeed one of the reasons why. Many of the claims that have been made by particularly the Greens, but as well some of those opposite, are claims that are misplaced, are claims that misinterpret the science, and are claims that ignore the reality that
Order.
the Northern Basin—
Senator Birmingham. Senator Hanson, on a point of order.
Senator Birmingham, you haven't commented on my question as to also the breaching Section 100 of the Australian Constitution.
Senator Hanson, as I've said before, I cannot instruct a minister how to answer a question as long as he remains directly relevant to the terms of it, and he was. Senator Birmingham.
Thanks, Mr President. Look, everything that has been done in relation to construction of the Murray-Darling Basin Plan has been in accordance with the Australian Constitution, including the referral of certain powers made by the states and territories to the Commonwealth to enable the passage of the Water Act back in 2007.
Before I move to the